I'm Phantom Oymanwood from Eazy and you're watching Disney Channel. Alright, to our kicks aside, welcome back to another Easy podcast. Today we have the regular hosts. We have Codes Akili. We also have Sarad and John Wick and I myself. We also have a special guest today named Alexi, and he wants to talk about why we can judge a book by its cover. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Easy.
All right. Well, Alexi, um, what was the thing that inspired you to post up? You could judge a book by its cover.
Um, well, yeah, you tend to be able to see patterns in people's behavior the more and more you interact with people. And there's some, in terms of behavior, people tend to follow a certain pathway, if you know where I'm coming from. And so that's why I said you
Right.
can judge someone by their cover.
Or
Judge
you
a book by
saying
the
that you can't judge a book by its cover
Yeah, you can.
based on what again? I'm sorry, repeat.
Based on
You,
cultural patterns, based on when you and based on this culture itself, when you meet people and you see the culture they engage themselves in, you could see how they would act, because culture is a massive motivation of behavior. Culture is what regulates behavior and what directs behavior. That's why in the United States you're hearing about this culture war between the left and the right, because they're trying to fight for how people ought to act in society. So that's why I'm saying that you can't judge someone by, you can't judge a book by its cover. If you get where I'm coming from.
okay, so I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. So what if, right? You say by cultural patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
So the cultural patterns would be like the summary of a book, basically.
so you can go. Can you go in depth into that, like as in like what they're doing, like
No, well, you could tell the value system by the culture, what they value the most, because we are directed by values, right? This is how you try to find meaning, because of what you value the most, and so forth in the hierarchy of values. That's how you operate in the world. So culture really defines a value hierarchy, and if you can understand the culture the person is from, I'm not saying it's absolute, because there's nothing absolute, but you could have a fair guess as to how the person would operate in society. I could give you an example, like in Trinidad, someone living in the ghetto who engages in the gang culture, you could tell where their headspace is at. You could tell where they view, or what they value as what they value the most in their hierarchy, and what they value the least. Right? There's
so
patterns.
what? So you know about code switching?
Uh, yeah. That's when you switch your dialect, I believe, or something like that. Or
Yeah, and basically, and you know your behaviors towards like in certain scenarios and stuff. So
mm,
like, what if the person, as you say, the cultural patterns that they have, right? What if the person is showing that side of them, you understand? But it's not really them, like themselves. What if they have like, so like what if, like you say, like the example you made was they in the ghetto, they surround themselves with all the quote unquote gang members and whatever. But what if they are generally quiet person, a honest person, a fair person? They don't want to do any of that. You understand? But they're just
but,
looking apart.
well, again, that's a good point. But I think that you can't tell when someone does not engage in gang culture, right? When I say you judge, you can judge. You can't judge a book by its cover. I'm just talking about simple interactions where a person can really tell you a lot about how a person views the world.
Mm.
So, um, like, if I were to talk to this quiet person and ask him, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" or "What do you want to do in life?" As someone who's engaged in gang culture would say, "I just want to make bread and kill people," or something like that.
Yeah.
Where someone who's quiet and who doesn't engage in the gang culture, even though they live within the area, would say um, that I want to work in a stable job and have a family and so forth. They will have certain values that they hold, and you'll be able to understand when they talk to them for like 5 minutes. You know, So that's how I see it as that.
But technically, that is not judging a book by its cover because the phrase would be due to like you judge somebody based on how they move, how they look, how they act. As in like pertaining to you, say not having a conversation with them, you getting to know the chapters of them. That's why you could judge based on like what you get to know from them. But like the phrase in itself means that just by look like you say like that's like example, you see a boy nappy head, like he don't comb his hair, sagging his pants, have a cigarette in his mouth. You know, you could you go watch him and probably say he not gang however. That's why we mean by like judging a book by its cover. But if you talk to him, but if you talk to him now and be like, and like like why you doing now, why you think like that, that's getting to know the person, then to judge the person. So
Well,
you're not really judging nobody by their cover because you're talking to them, you're getting to know them first.
well, no. For example, like the question is, what you doing? You can't judge someone by just that one question. That would be that cannot happen. You can't. If I ask you what you doing, I can't just say, "Waste, but this man's a failure, a waste of time. He's not gonna do nothing with his life by just that one question." But what I'm saying is that you can't. By that one question, you will know that what like if they decide you would know what they want to do with their life. Well, sorry, that's I'm taking it too far, but you would know where their headspace is at by that single question there. That's what I'm saying. Because that's by the definition of judging a book by its cover. That's like reading the title of a book when you ask them a simple question like as in, what you gonna do today or what's the plans later. That's just like reading perhaps the introduction or reading the
Yeah, but
title.
it's still opening up the book.
No, but I don't think it means literally just reading the title. No, it means by judging a book by its cover, it means not reading the content of the book itself. I think that's what the statement actually means. I don't think
No,
it literally
because
means just reading
no,
the
because
title
the
of the
literal
judge.
term for it as in like the literal term for it as in like you watch let me say yeah, like you watch the cover of the book, but the book is the lost souls or some crap like that. You understand? And you watch it and
Mhm.
it's like this not song is entertaining. You understand? Because you're watching the frame and it's not song entertaining. But then you open the book now and you could find out that it wasn't entertaining as your first thought. Or it could be like, okay, it's a good story. Like that is the base of it. So it's like when you say that you say that all like
Okay.
you see somebody dress like we say you see somebody dress like basic, right? So you say like he probably like average in wealth and stuff. But he could be probably like Bill Gates. Bill Gates rich, you understand? That is
Oh, but
judging by its cover.
Yeah, so
but
Cody's basically saying, that judging a book by its cover is mostly about the visual descriptors rather than, the other
And
content.
cause like you saying that oh you asking them questions. That is
not
still
a
open.
question, but they can ask him one question like,
No,
"What
but
are you
I
gonna
still
do?"
open like you still like read you can like read the introduction. I still open the book. That is you still saying that oh okay you saying like what you doing, right? And he telling you he gonna go fast smoke, he gonna think. That is you could and you say that you could judge him based off of that. That is still opening the book.
Not
As in like
really, because I mean, if you were to read the table of contents,
mm,
right, that won't give you anything or won't help you understand the book in itself.
the
You will
table
still
of
count that
contents.
as just judging a book by its cover, even though it doesn't literally mean just like reading the cover. It means not looking at the content of the book. I think that's where the metaphor is supposed to stand. But I could go back to your point too, as in let's say that you see someone wearing a saggy pants or whatever. We could do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those dress codes the dress codes that come about due to culture or signs that that person is engaged in that culture. For example, if someone is sagging their pants in tongue, that's a sign that they're embedded in the culture, and you could get a good mind as to what their value system is by understanding the culture that they approve of or the culture that they subscribe to, right? It's all about understanding the value system of a culture promotes by understanding the by trying to understand how that person or how that person follows the culture.
No, but you putting a value system to someone's visual appearance doesn't make sense in terms of like, because like you're saying, that person, because that person sagging his pants doesn't particularly mean that he belongs to that certain culture. It doesn't
Yeah, but
necessarily mean it.
well, then what other culture sags their pants? I don't think there's much culture that does that. I think there's only certain cultures that sags their pants, like gang culture. Uh,
Uh,
Unless you know more than me in terms of that, I don't know. Talk to me.
no, but I particularly know people that
Mm-hmm.
like sag as in, was like not like,
Mm-hmm.
you understand, that's not like wanna be a gang member, wanna initiate violence and stuff. Is for them it's just I guess you could say a style. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They are far from that. That is like, it's like a quote unquote white child trying to fit in. Something like that. Like they know about our life. You understand? But you just watching them and saying, oh, okay, you probably about our life. And
No, well,
they clearly know about our life.
no, it's not only the sagging pants, it's also the behavior, how they interact, in how they engage in society, how they
Right,
move
well,
about.
that is judging a book by its cover. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like that, if you're speaking on that basis, then I can understand that. But the fact that you was talking about like you was engaging in conversation, that wasn't what the phrase put.
No, well, small talk. Small talk is also judging a book by its cover. If I pull small talk with you, I don't know your story, so I can't judge you by just small talk. That would also mean judging a book by its cover, wouldn't it?
No, but because you'll get some insight to their behavior. Guys, like okay, like
But
you
it won't
engaging
be
with.
enough for a judgment.
That's what you feel. It depends on the amount of information given. That's what I'm saying. Like with your context, right? You tell the boy what you're doing, right? And he tell you he going on the block, he gonna take a smoke. He lying with his partners on them, right? So would you think that's sufficient information to say what what he are part of or what he doing?
Yes. Or no. That's not. You see, okay, okay, I. If let's say I know the block he's going to. If I know the block he's going to,
Right,
right,
you have
then
no information.
I wouldn't say that. For example, let's say the man happens to live in my area, and
Mm-hmm.
he say he went to the block, right, to Lime. Then I
Mm-hmm.
could make the assumption that he's part of that culture, and thus you could make that judgment that you know
Mm-hmm.
he's in the right headspace or he isn't doing the right thing by liming on the block. Because we could all agree that liming on the block isn't productive. Any block, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could make a sound judgment. But like I said before, nothing's absolute. Because I can't make a judgment about none of you all by just pulling smalls. Well, in a sense, it just depends. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
like
say.
I say, it depends on the information that you receive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if I come, okay, let's say I'm somebody who have a resting bitch face. Some people might not want to come and talk to me, so you judge a book by a cover
Yeah,
because
that's
what
judging
you
a book
saying.
by its cover, because
Yeah,
you say because your face, yo, because I like how you represent your face to them is like you be chi, you know somebody to talk to. That is judging a book by its cover. But is in terms of me coming up to you and say why your face like that, you understand? And
mm,
depending on how you respond, then I may have ample enough thing to say like, well, so and so might be the case. You understand? Because at the end of the day, even judging, you could be wrong. Even with judging, you could be wrong.
But I mean, in a sense, we all judge things by its cover.
yeah,
For example, a
Yeah.
car. We don't
It's
know how a car
human
operates, yet
nature.
we still assumes that the car will take us to where our destination is. We don't
Yeah,
really the
but look
in-depth
at how
mechanisms. We just
yeah.
judge it face value. So
Just
we
by
do
the
that all the time.
we decide if a car is expensive or not just by its look. Yeah, if it's fast or not just by its.
uh,
Yeah,
Yes, I can agree with that. Yeah. I do that plenty of times, so I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
because that's how
I
perception
mean,
works.
we as human, yeah, like we judge things all the time. Yeah,
Because
it doesn't make it accurate, but we judge things all
But
the
I
time.
say like what I believe is that they they made the basis of that term "do not judge a book by its cover," meaning like like I believe that we like give somebody a chance, like give them a chance to like explain themselves, give them a chance to like try to show them who they
Yeah,
really
but
is. Like,
even if
that's what
Cody
I
like,
believe.
yeah, but even if I have like people like, you have to constantly be talking to them to actually know them, to actually break their walls. Because you could be talking to me for like a month or something, I still will be the same person you met. Like I'll still have like that same personality, everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not saying that like what you portray to them is exactly what it is. I'm saying like why the why like I saying like my concept of why the phrase was made. You understand? Like it was like why is like the saying that is because you're saying that oh like don't don't call somebody poor when when they might be rich. You understand? Don't discriminate against somebody. You understand? Think in some way, and
Ask
it's
for
not
people that know who Adam Sandler was. I would think he was poor or something so. The way he
is
was dressed.
exactly. You understand? Like until you know somebody, until you have ample information on what you believe to be the case, I feel that is why the phrase was made. Now, I believe that because, example, the police just use profiling, right? So based on like certain like this build certain criminal profiles, and based on their criminal profiles, certain people just look apart to be not specific criminal, right? So they use that in the system, in the justice system. That people do the criminal police and them do profilings like that. And like sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. You understand? But it's not stopping them from doing it, you understand? So
True.
that would be a case of I mean that might be a case of proving your point, Alexi, as in
You know,
like
it's a real good example of this too. Even though like we don't know who really do it, but like a police had got shot and they blamed it on like this bad boy. And what happened is the I didn't even know who it was, but yeah, and then the man actually came out a video saying he didn't shoot the police. It's another police who shot the other police, but they
exactly,
still
but
don't know.
because he looked the part, like he looked the part probably like of our criminal profile because he looked the part of that. That's probably why they pick him as the main subject. So it was wrong, but because of the percentage of sometimes it being right, they chose to stick with that. And that's what I'm saying is like us as human beings, I guess I don't know where to draw the line in what we want to believe in. You understand? I would say I don't know because like I believe sometimes you should judge a book by its cover, to be honest. But
I just know the vibes I get from people, honestly speaking.
it's like certain scenarios. You understand? Certain scenarios I would say, but like whereas like judging a book by its cover, like to be discriminatory, like nah, like that I wouldn't like
Yeah, I agree.
advise. I wouldn't advise with that like to judge somebody just to bring them down, just to like that would like I wouldn't advise for that. But I believe like in certain instances, I guess like I don't want to say it's justified, but sometimes doing that could save a life or something. You never know. So it's really based on your point of view, I guess.
All right.
We go on. Bush.